Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and welcome to the Acid Spray Only Challenge. For this challenge, I have to play in Go Battle League, but the only charge move I am allowed to use is Acid Spray. Therefore, I'm entirely reliant on fast move damage and lowering my opponent's defense to try and win games. For the team, I'm running Scrafty on the lead with Tentacruel and Shadow Victory Bell in the back, and against all odds, I was able to go positive in the 2800s with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out the Acid Spray Only team in action in the Great League. Hopping into the first match, switching Scrafty into Swampert. Fairly neutral lead, so I'm going to stay in, debuff them with an Acid Spray, and then try and snipe them with Razor Leaves from Shadow Victory Bell. They fire off the Hydro Cannon, I tank it, and I'm going for the Acid Spray. Even though my Scrafty does have Foul Play, I can't use it for the challenge. I get the debuff, in comes the Victory Bell, massive damage, and they quickly switch into their Galarian Stunfisk. Razor Leaf is still hitting for neutral, so honestly, I'm not in a bad spot here. I'm just going to try and commit to the 2-shield farm down. They're going to fire off another Rock Slide. I'm going to commit the shield and then try and Razor Leaf down. This is going to be very close. Victory Bell going for the farm down. I can't quite get it, and I fire off the Acid Spray on CMP. Acid Spray gets the shield and KOs because they were on 1 HP, and even a shielded charge move still does 1 HP of damage. In the back is Shadow Drapion. Acid Spray gets the shield, and it's a CMP tie. This crunch will take out my Victory Bell, and I bring in Scrafty. Opponent brings in Swampert, switch, and I catch their Hydro Cannon onto Tentacruel. Let's go. Tentacruel looking for the Poison Jab farm down. Swampert not going to be able to reach an Earthquake. They're forced to settle for another Hydro Cannon. Thankfully, my Tentacruel is still alive, and I'm able to Acid Spray the Drapion as it comes back in. Acid Spray never does a lot of damage, but will of course get that guaranteed 2-stage defense drop. I'm able to reach another Acid Spray. This is going to be doing more damage than before due to the defense drop. Drapion getting quite low. They're forced to fire off some energy here. The question is, what moveset do they have? They are running Aqua Tail, and this game should be over. They cannot hold 3 Aqua Tails. Scrafty able to counter down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a Dream lead, Scrafty into Bastiodon. Immediate save switch into Medicham, and I respond with my Shadow Victory Bell. These Razor Leafs are tearing through Medicham. Medicham does have enough for a Psychic though. I commit the shield and get baited with a Power-Up Punch. That is super unfortunate. Because of that bait, they're able to reach a Psychic before I'm able to farm down. I fire off the Acid Spray, I am able to force a shield, and I'm going to need to commit my final shield because I need to keep switch advantage so I can keep that Bastiodon aligned against my Scrafty. Opponent is going to wait their switch clock, and then they bring in their own Shadow Victory Bell to get ahead on energy. They're able to farm down, and they're not far off of a move. I bring in Tentacruel, and they're going to fire off a move. Leaf Blade is definitely going to hurt here. Victory Bell fires off a Leaf Tornado, in comes Bastiodon, and I get to bring in my Scrafty. I am going to throw an Acid Spray and then fully commit to the farm down here. Acid Spray will just ensure that I'm going to be able to farm down before they're able to reach double Flamethrower. They're going to fire off the first Flamethrower. I'm going to tank it no problem, and then continue to commit to the farm down. I'm able to leave with a ton of energy. Back in comes the Victory Bell. I'm going straight for the Acid Spray. Acid Spray does get the shield from the Victory Bell. Victory Bell able to farm me down. Tentacruel farms down the Victory Bell, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a very tough lead, Scrafty into Medicham. I will need to immediately save switch into Tentacruel, but honestly, Medicham can stay in here. They have Psychic, which would hit for massive super effective damage. I'm going to fire off the Acid Spray. Acid Spray lands on Medicham, and Medicham is going to fire back with the Psychic. I will shield because I do want to respect it. They throw the Psychic, and they're going to bring in Walrein. This is not a terrible spot to be in, but Walrein does have access to Earthquake, so even though I'm resisting the Powder Snows, Earthquake would definitely be enough to take me out. They're going to massively overfarm. I don't want to give up my final shield, so I let it go, and Earthquake is going to take me out. In comes Scrafty. Scrafty is going to commit to the farm down. They should only be able to reach one move here. They fire off the Icicle Spear. Scrafty tanks it and able to farm down. They bring in Medicham, and I immediately bring in Shadow Victory Bell. Shadow Victory Bell able to get the Medicham incredibly low. Maybe there's a chance if they're weak to Victory Bell in the back. I shield up the Psychic. In the back, they have Shadow Nidoqueen. I farm up, and I fire off the Acid Spray on the CMP tied to the Poison Fang. Acid Spray gets the shield, and I'm going to be taken out by the Poison Fang. The question is, can I farm down with Scrafty? This is going to be close. I fire off another Acid Spray. My counters are resisted, but their defense is 4 stages debuffed here. This is going to be close. They fire off the Poison Fang. Come on, Scrafty. Farm down. I believe in you. Scrafty! Unfortunately, it's a simultaneous KO. Hopping into the next match, sending Scrafty into another Bastiodon. You absolutely love to see it. Opponent safe switches into a Sableye, and this tells me it's almost assuredly going to be Medicham in the back. Typically, for a Sableye switch-in, I would bring in Victory Bell, shield once, and farm all the way down, but if it's a Medicham in the back, I do want to save the Victory Bell, because that Razor Leaf damage is going to be invaluable. Unfortunately, I do get baited there. I overfarm quite a bit, and I'm going to make a catch onto Tentacruel. They go for another bait as they fired off the foul play, and they're going to be able to reach one final foul play. I will be able to tank this, and then I'm going to let myself get as low as possible before I take out the Sableye. This way I can minimize the amount of farm that Bastiodon is going to get. In comes Bastiodon, and I'm able to reach one final Acid Spray before they take me out. Acid Spray is going to lower their defense, and then I'm going to wait my clock and bring back in Scrafty. In comes Scrafty, I go for the Acid Spray, and they catch onto their Medicham. But honestly, this works out for me. I bring in the Shadow Victory Bell, and they are debuffed, so these Razor Leafs are doing even more damage than they typically would. I commit the shield. They go for the Power-Up Punch. They just want as much counter damage as possible. And back in comes the Bastiodon. Bastiodon has 2 shields, and I have a lot of Acid Spray users. Firing off another Acid Spray. Acid Spray gets the shield. These Razor Leafs are starting to chunk through the Bastiodon as Bastiodon is able to farm me down. In comes Scrafty. The counter does go through. They fire off the Flamethrower. Are they going to be able to reach another Flamethrower? They are not. And Scrafty clutches another win. Hopping into the next match, leading Scrafty into Registeel. This is a pretty decent lead for Scrafty, but I do have to be careful of the potential Focus Blast. I farm up, and I'm going straight for the Acid Spray as soon as I get it. Acid Spray goes unshielded, and they're going to fire off a move. This could be the Zap Cannon bait. I shield it, and unfortunately, I do get baited with the Zap Cannon. That is quite rough. I'm going to farm up quite a bit, switch, and catch what should hopefully be a Focus Blast onto Tentacruel, and it is. Let's go. Opponent is going to farm with the Registeel, and then they bring in Walrein. Honestly, I am perfectly fine with this, getting to bait out the Walrein and debuff it to make it an even easier counter down for Scrafty later on in the match. I'm able to reach Acid Spray number 2, and now this Walrein is 4 stages debuffed, these Poison Jabs absolutely tearing through it. I'm not committing a shield here. I'm just going to let it go. They actually go for the Icicle Spear bait, and they're going to fire off another. They do have back-to-back spears loaded here. They're going to be able to land the spear, but it doesn't KO, and I'm able to farm down. We know they have the very low health Registeel. What is the final Pokemon? And it's Shadow Skuntank. I have Shadow Victory Bell in the back, which is typically not a great matchup going up against Skuntank. But if you throw enough Acid Sprays, it can become a good matchup. They try and catch on the Registeel. Back in comes the Skuntank. They reset their Acid Spray debuff, but not for long. I shield up the Crunch. I am applying that Acid Spray debuff back right away, and I'm going to Razor Leaf down with Shadow Victory Bell. Shadow Victory Bell takes down the Skuntank, and that is a good game. Picking up an awful lead in the next match, Scrafty into Defense Deoxys. I save switch into Tentacruel, but this is not any better of a matchup. Defense Deoxys hits my entire team for super effective damage, so no matter where I see it, it's going to be trouble. They fire off the Thunderbolt, I commit the shield, and I fire off an Acid Spray on the CMP tied to their Psycho Boost. Acid Spray goes unshielded, and I am not willing to give up my final shield, so I am going to be letting this go. Psycho Boost does a ton of damage, and they finally switch out as they bring in Walrein. They waited for a while, so honestly, my switch clock may come up in time to save the Tentacruel. Switch clock comes up, I bank an Acid Spray for later, and I'm able to make a catch onto Scrafty. Scrafty will have to tank 2 Icicle Spears, but will be able to fully farm down, which is absolutely massive. Wall Rain fires off Icicle Spear number 2. I tank it, I farm down, and I'm very close to a move. In the back, they have Charm Alolan Ninetales, and this might actually be doable. I fire off the Acid Spray. They farm down. I am going to need to catch a move onto my Tentacruel. I'm waiting my timer, and in comes Victory Bell. They switch out to reset the debuff and bring in Deoxys. Deoxys reaches a Psycho Boost. I am going to commit the shield. So I'm going to have to catch a Weather Ball from the Ninetales onto my Tentacruel. Able to farm down. Back in comes the Ninetales. I farm up, switch, and I'm able to make the catch onto Tentacruel. Let's go. They no bubble the Weather Ball. That lets me reach my Acid Spray. I fire off the Acid Spray. Acid Spray gets the shield. You know what? Let's throw another Acid Spray at him. Firing off a second Acid Spray. They shield that as well. And that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a very tough lead, Scrafty into Talonflame. With a Victory Bell in the back, I can't afford to switch out. So I just have to stay in here, try and play this out, and then hope that Victory Bell will be good against whatever they have in the back. I go for the Acid Spray, it gets no shielded, they overfarm, and they're firing off a move. I'm going to call the Flame Charge, and it is just a Flame Charge. Talonflame farms up, and they fire off a second Flame Charge. I'm going to let this go and attempt to Poison Jab down with Tentacruel. In comes Tentacruel, Talonflame, trying to reach the Brave Bird, and they die with the move. That's huge. In the back, they have Registeel. I fire off the Acid Spray, and I'm going to be bringing in the Victory Bell. I hope that the Registeel is going to decide to stay in here. Registeel is staying in, and they're taking a lot of damage from the Razor Leafs. They're going to fire off a Zap Cannon. That is going to lower my attack. And in the back, they have Trevenant. And that is not something I was hoping to see. As honestly, the Victory Bell struggles quite a bit against Trevenant. I am going to throw the Acid Spray. Starting to get them low. But these Shadow Claws have absolutely destroyed my Victory Bell. I decide to shield the Seed Bomb at the last second. But they have the back-to-back moves. And unfortunately, my Tentacruel just cannot take out that Registeel. Hopping into the final match, hitting Scrafty into Alolan Ninetales. Immediate save switch into Tentacruel, and my opponent responds with Toxicroak. Bad lead and a bad switch. I'm not even going to build up to the Hydro Pump. I'm going straight for the Acid Spray. I want to debuff them as soon as I possibly can because I need all the damage I can get on this Toxicroak. They're going to fire off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, not enough to KO, and I get my second Acid Spray. That is big. Acid Spray gets the Toxicroak quite low. Toxicroak is able to counter down on very low HP. I'm going to bring in the Scrafty just to absorb damage, and now it's all up to Shadow Victory Bell. Opponent is going to be bringing in the Ninetales, and I will need to immediately switch. They bring in the Ninetales, I bring in Victory Bell, and it's Wall Rain in the back. These Razor Leafs absolutely shredding through the Wall Rain. That is huge. I shield up the Icicle Spear, and I'm able to take them out. Back in comes the Ninetales. These resisted charms are really adding up, and I'm going to fire off the Acid Spray. Acid Spray will be shielded, will get the ever-important debuff, and I get one more Razor Leaf. It's all up to Scrafty. Can Scrafty counter down a Charm Alolan Ninetales? I'm going to be shielding up the Weather Ball. This is going to be close. Scrafty able to counter down the Charmer, and that is a good game. All in all, the Acid Spray only challenge was an incredible amount of fun. It's definitely challenging as well. Not being able to use charge moves to do any meaningful amount of damage really does change the way you think about the game and how you prioritize when you use your shields and when you throw your charge moves. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.